Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm going to wait for you guys to tune in. Good morning. I'm just waiting for everyone to tune in. How are you all doing? I am so tired this morning. Very exhausted. I've been working on like 3 hours of sleep the last few weeks, but we keep pushing. Say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time, let me know where you're tuning in from. Good morning, Ford Tanisha. Bow to Queen. Good morning. Pretty Petite. Good morning. Good morning, Peyton. Mushroompreneur. Oh, I like that name. That's funny. Do you have a mushroom business? Thank you. CJ Official. Good morning. Good morning, YouTube as well. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram. Abu, you said this is your first time. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. And welcome, Nelson from Utah on YouTube. So let me introduce myself. My name is Ayesha Chidole, and I'm an immigration lawyer. I help immigrants with their humanitarian-based or family-based immigration case. So we handle VAWA cases, we handle T visas, U visas, marriage-based cases, family-based petitions. If you'd like to naturalize, we handle all of those. I will be happy to assist you with that. If you need assistance with that, our phone number here is 407. Let me try and type that in here. 407-995. 6567 to schedule a consultation. And really the purpose of this live is for me to answer questions, for those who have questions. So you can type your questions and I'm just going to kind of scroll through once I finish typing this and answer some questions. Okay, so let's pin that. All right, let me pin this here. Pin. All right. Good. Oh, let's just pass. Good morning, my best lawyer. My EAD expired today. And what can I do? I've put in a renewal request. How long does it take to get the new renewal? So if your EAD expired and you already put in a renewal, depending on the kind of case, your receipt acts as your new card. So along with your expired card and your receipt showing that you put in your renewal, that would be an extension to your EAD until they approve it. Renewal EADs can typically take time, and that's why they give that extension with the receipt. So that's what you would use to show that you're eligible. And if you have a problem with your employer, I'm happy to give them the policy rule that says that you're allowed to have that as an extension as long as you submit your renewal before the expiration date. If you get a work permit through VAWA, does that mean your VAWA is approved and will you get the green card? Well, it depends. There are two kinds of work permit you can get through VAWA. One is because you have a pending adjustment of status, which would be under category C09, or one is a category C31, which can only be granted if you've been approved for VAWA. So if you get that one, then you know that your VAWA case is approved. Typically, they will actually grant you that C31 like a week or a few days before they actually issue the official approval. My goodness, I look so tired today and I sound so tired. Someone says, what happens if you miss an interview date? You most likely will get denied. That's what usually happens, unless you call to reschedule. If you didn't call to reschedule, you're most likely looking at a denial letter. Good morning, Timmy Talk with Joseph on YouTube. Good morning, Shani Han on YouTube as well. And let's see. Can an asylum seeker seek a green card through marriage and go back to his homeland directly? I mean, there are just so many variables to it. It depends on what exactly you sought asylum for. What happened with your asylum case? Was a case withdrawn? Was a decision made? The idea of asylum is that you're saying that basically your home country is dangerous and you are fearful of going back there. So typically most people have to wait till they become US citizens before they can go back. So that's, what I'll say about that. I received an advance parole card. Can I travel on it? And how long after that will I receive my green card if I filed based on VAWA? The two are kind of unrelated. The travel permit is based on you having a pending adjustment of status application. To answer whether you can travel on it, I can't tell you personally because I don't know you personally. I don't know your case personally, and I don't know your immigration history personally. However, there are many circumstances in which when you get an advance parole, you can travel. For instance, if you got an advance parole and you have that pending VAWA case and you submitted an adjustment of status and like no decisions have been made, no RFEs have been issued, you don't have any other immigration history, no potential removal cases. So there's so many variables. Usually, in those cases, I would tell my own clients it's okay to go. If you're an abeyance client, I want to know when did we hand in the abeyance? Who did we hand in the abeyance to? Did we mail it? Did we drop it with someone? So basically, there's a lot that goes into it. I know last year going into this year, I certainly heard of a lot of people. Thankfully, none of our clients, even though one of our clients almost got stranded, but we're able to save the day. But where people traveled when they shouldn't have, or where they didn't clarify or notify their lawyer and left, all to realize that their advance parole was expired and they couldn't enter back to the country. So, I would need to know your own personal case and immigration history to answer that question for you personally. But the answer I gave is a general variable. If you have a pending divorce, can you remove your green card on your own? Me and my husband have a court order for 1 year and he's already divorced now and the divorce is pending. Yes, there is a waiver that allows you to remove the conditions on your green card based on divorce. So when you have a 2-year conditional green card, you typically are required to remove the conditions with your spouse unless you qualify for a waiver. The waivers are removing the conditions because you and your spouse are divorced, but you did enter your marriage in good faith. You and your spouse has passed away, but you did enter your marriage in good faith. Your spouse is extremely cruel and abusive to you, but you and your spouse entered your marriage in good faith. And then the last one is extreme hardship. So if you fall under any of those 4 categories, you can remove the conditions of green card on your own without having your spouse sign it. You just have to prove that you had a good faith marriage. That's the key. Do you have to have a joint bank account or lease in order to file for a marriage-based green card? So you don't have to, but you have to have proof of your marriage. So obviously a joint bank account is not the only thing that you can use to support proof that, you have a genuine marriage, but what else do you have? It's always good to have something that entangles you financially because those tend to be the strongest evidence. And entangling the more it entangles the petitioner, the stronger the evidence it is. So what do I mean by petitioner? Petitioner is the U.S. citizen or LPR green card holder that's filing for someone who's an immigrant. So typically, if that person is willing to go out on a limb financially for the immigrant, there's a higher indication that marriage is genuine as opposed to the other way around. So. My I-130 was approved, but they needed additional evidence before my green card could be approved. I've submitted the evidence and they've received it since July and no response. What can I do? It's just July. We're just in September. It's only been 2 months. You're still within a normal processing time. RFEs can take up to 6 months. If after 6 months you don't hear anything, then you can reach out and see, what's going on with it. Okay. Good morning. What if you have a pending green card for 2 years and 6 months now? Do you mean a pending green card application? If that's what you mean, at this point, I would definitely want to do some sort of inquiry or get some sort of congressional assistance or ombudsman assistance if you've already tried to do a service request, because I would say that is a long time if your pending green card is based on an immediate relative, meaning either your spouse that's a U.S. citizen, your child that's over the age of 21 that's a U.S. citizen, or So those would be the category in which I would be concerned if it's been 2 years. If it's not those categories, then it's possible you're in a visa bulletin category, which can sometimes take, longer. My sister has a husband who left her since 4 years ago without any documents. Can she apply for VAWA? We would love to screen her to see if she's eligible and if she's still married, because if she got married 4 years ago, then she's no longer eligible. But if she got divorced 4 years ago, she's no longer eligible. However, if she's still married and not yet divorced, I can definitely screen her or one of the other attorneys at my firm just to determine eligibility. Okay. Can I file a case on a green card holder or only a U.S. citizenship spouse? This is a very good question. You are eligible to file for VAWA even if you're married to a green card holder or a U.S. citizen, as long as you have experienced extreme cruelty, you are a person of good moral character, you have a good faith marriage. If you have all those things, whether it's a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, you would be eligible as a spouse. Now, the adjustment of status portion might be different for you. The adjustment of status, meaning the I-485, the actual green card application and the work and travel permit, that's going to look different for those who have LPR spouses versus those who have U.S. citizens, because a U.S. citizen is an immediate relative. So what that means is that if you were married to a U.S. citizen or you're married to a U.S. citizen, you don't have to wait. You can apply for all of that at the same time. If it's a green card holder, right now, you kind of have to wait. You kind of have to wait until the visa bulletin says you can apply. And sometimes that can take a year or 2 years on the bulletin. How long does it take to get an advance parole these days on average? It just depends. If you do your advance parole with your work permit, usually you'll get it around the same time, anywhere from like 4 to 9 months. If you have an emergency and you need an emergency advance parole, you can present the proof of the emergency at a field office, and they can make a decision right there where you don't have to wait. You would have to schedule InfoPass and attend is to make it. Okay. Why is the VAWA case taking so long? It's been a year since I filed mine. At the time, the wait was 34 months. Now it's 40 months. Does that affect people that filed when the wait time was a lot less? So the first question is, why is it taking so long? Honestly, I don't work for USCIS. I wish I could answer and get all my clients, a quick approval, but I can't. I suspect, the sheer volume of VAWA cases make the packets, a little longer to review and process. You're reading people's stories, you're reading briefs, and legal arguments, so similar to like asylum cases or T cases or U cases, basically cases that require testimony require just a much more thorough review. So I am suspecting that is why. Now, even though they've said 34 months to 40 months, a lot of what they're saying on there is just what we call an aspirational timeline. It basically means USCIS is saying, do not bother us before this timeline, because majority of you are going to get approved by then. It doesn't mean that it's going to take you 40 months to get approved. It just means that this is the window before you can bother us, so that we can work. I know that, I guess, USCIS experiences the same thing that some of us as attorneys experience, where, on one hand, clients might want you to be on the phone with them, but at the same time want you to work. And sometimes you need to work, you need to get this package going. And sometimes being on the phone can detract from it. So I suspect that's why they don't want that many calls before then. But having said that, on average, I would say that most VAWA cases fall between 2 to 3 years. The cases that don't have an RFE or notice of intent to deny, you're going to be closer to 2 years to 2.5 years. The cases which have an RFE or notice of intent to deny can be between that 2.5 years to 3 years, because usually once you get an RFE, you have 87 days to reply, or if you get an NYD, you have, the 33 days. So those can push those back, because by the time you submit it, it kind of goes back in the queue, and then they're reviewing it. So most people will fall in that window. So for you, you've only submitted your case just a year ago, so you still have some time. I would say and encourage you, if you didn't already apply, if you're eligible for adjustment of status, just do your adjustment of status application, work and travel permit, so that while you're waiting, at least you have your 5-year work permit, at least you have your 5-year travel permit. So you can essentially do the same things that you do as a green card holder, other than remarrying someone else while you're waiting. And let me just point that out again. If you are a VAWA applicant and you have a VAWA case pending, it's fine if you get divorced, but you cannot remarry someone else while your case is pending. If you do, your case will be null and void. Okay. Let's see. My husband and I were together since we were 16 years old. He was in the military, and I'm still waiting for my 10-year green card. My husband was doing a lot of cheating, so I left, but we're still married. I'm sorry to hear that. For Tanisha, when you say that you're waiting on your 10-year green card, did your husband apply for you? If he didn't apply for you, would love to screen you to see if you're eligible to self-petition based on, abuse and extreme cruelty. And if you are, then that'll be another route for you to get your green card on your own, even though you're still married. My I-130 was approved, but they needed additional evidence before my green card could be approved. I've submitted, I think I've answered this one already. See, like some questions are like duplicates. Okay. I have a pending case. Can I bring my son who's overseas, or must I wait until I'm approved? Well, I mean, it depends. Does your son have, a visa to enter the U.S.? Are you planning to apply for your son? Depending on what kind of case you have, are you eligible to apply for your son? Or if it's through your spouse, is your spouse eligible to apply for your son? So depending on the answer for that, that's what the answer will be. Okay. We did VAWA July 2021, and in 2023 I got my work permit and social. We'll do adjustment of status at the same time. How much longer do I have to wait for my green card? So are you saying that you did your adjustment of status in 2023? Like that's when you first put in the first application, Ruben? If that's what you're saying, then, hopefully you'll get a decision this year, depending on when in 2023 you filed, can take anywhere from like 6 to 13 months if you're just doing a brand new adjustment of status application. I have my 2-year green card since 2022. In April, I sent a removal of condition, and until today, I haven't heard back from them, but they just sent me an extension for my green card. So what's next? Letitia, you're not going to hear anything from them until they make a decision on your case. Most cases for removal of condition can take 2 to 3 or even more years, which is why they give you a 48-month extension. A 48-month extension is a 4-year extension. So basically, your green card is extended for 4 years while they continue to review your removal of condition. Now, depending on what kind of removal of condition you applied for, whether it was joint or whether you requested a waiver, once you become eligible for citizenship, either at the 3-year window or at the 5-year window, you can then check and see that you meet the requirements to naturalize. And if you do, then you can apply for naturalization. Once you apply for naturalization, it will kind of force them to make a decision for both at the same time. Okay. Can one get a travel parole through VAWA whilst on a pending asylum? The answer is that it depends. If your asylum case is already in removal proceedings, which majority generally are, then no. If it's not, and you were one of those who filed within the year of entering here and your case is still pending before USCIS in an affirmative petition, you can apply for a travel permit and get one. However, you cannot go to the country that you have a pending asylum for. So, I just need to make sure I point that out. Okay. All right, let's see. Adjusted my status. I've been waiting on a travel parole since December 2023. Any idea how long it's taking? I would say that's a long time. You should probably do an inquiry right now to see what's up and what's taking them so long. Or if you have an emergent need to travel, you can schedule an info pass and then you can get one then. How long will OPLA take to respond after you submit a PD in New York City? I don't know. OPLA, and for those who don't know, prosecutorial discretion is when you're in deportation, and basically, you're asking opposing counsel to exercise prosecutorial discretion so that the case can get dismissed. Every jurisdiction is different. Every lawyer is different. Every DHS counsel lawyer is different, so I can't tell you a date or a timeline. I don't know. Sometimes some lawyers at DHS are quick. Sometimes it takes them several months. So I can't give you an answer. Sorry. I got a 5-year work permit through VAWA, so I wanted to know if VAWA is approved, how long before I get the green card? Typically, after your VAWA is approved, usually there's I would say on average, depending on what you submitted with your initial application, it could vary anywhere from 2 to 6 months on average, either for them to request additional evidence for your medical, or if, let's say, two or 3 years ago when your VAWA case was pending, you didn't submit an I-864W, they can request that because, there was a window between President Trump's administration and President Biden's administration that you had to submit that document, and then Biden took it out, but he didn't take it out immediately. So for some cases, they can't make a decision until they have that waiver. So depending on that, they may send you an RFE for that. And once you send your RFE, usually, within that month or a couple of months later. So basically 6 months is a good time where if you've still not heard anything, that you should definitely do some type of inquiry. Okay. Okay. Can I file for a work permit on an abusive green card holder spouse if my priority date is September of 2024? How long to get a work permit after filing? Okay, so this is a loaded question. So let me try and see how I can simplify it for you. So every VAWA application or every VAWA applicant has the opportunity to select that they want a work permit. Now, depending on if you have an adjustment of status application with you or not, that's what determines when and how long it's going to take for you to get your work permit. Now, if you have a U.S. citizen spouse, you must have an adjustment of status pending before you can request a work permit. Okay? And those ones would typically come between 4 to 9 months. If you're married to a green card holder and as of September, you filed for your VAWA case, right? While you can elect on your VAWA application that you want a work permit, you cannot apply for a work permit related to adjustment of status that comes quickly unless the visa bulletin says, based on your receipt number, you can start submitting your application. I will tell you that as of for October, the visa bulletin says you have to have been receipted and have a priority date of June 15th, 2024. Is it June 15th or July 15th? I'm just going to check this real quick, guys, so that I can give you the right information. I want to say it's June, but let me just confirm. Let's confirm. Okay, no, it's July 15th. So for you asking the question, if your priority date says September of 2024, unfortunately, you cannot. You can submit an adjustment of status and an attached work and travel permit because the priority date is July 15th, 2024. So you have to have had a filing receipt before that date. Now, if your VAWA already included a request for work permit, that one would be approved if your VAWA case is approved, but that one's going to take 2 to 3 years. And then segueing, just real quick before I jump off, because I got to jump off. With T visas, in the past, you were not able to request a work permit, while your case was pending. But now, as of August 28th, now when you do submit your T visa application, you should be submitting an additional work permit application so that if you get what we call a bona fide determination, similar to like a prima facie determination in VAWA cases, they will issue you a work permit while your case is pending. This is a game changer for those that have T applications, because in the past, you had to basically wait 2 years, for them to do it. But now, similar to how they changed the rules a couple of years ago for you visa holders, is the same. You can get that work permit while your case is pending. All right, guys, there are a ton of questions today. I can't get to them. I have a meeting, but please schedule a consultation if you want legal advice, and I'll be happy to assist you. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to y'all later.